Hi everybody, and thank you for joining me today. I'm here to discuss with you guys a topic that is the most asked question of probably any tarot card reader on YouTube and astrology reader. Which videos should I watch? So after your first video, when you watch the sun sign, you realize that there's a bunch of other videos you can watch and have insight about. Sometimes the sun doesn't make much sense to you, and then you start looking and find that maybe the moon or your rising sign is the video to watch. Now, the long answer can only be answered by somebody doing your chart. I can do your chart if you click right here, so that will take you to my website and you can get a personalized reading. But if you want to just get the basics down and figure out the intro, watch this video and I will explain the three major aspects that are often most associated with different parts of your life. Now, this is really dependent on where your chart placements are. Chart placements are the different planets in your chart, where they are, and especially where they are vis-a-vis each other and in what house. The chart is divided into houses that describe different aspects of life. So this is why an astrological profile is best, but it's not always the best place to start. So let's talk about the different signs one by one. And then we can just kind of touch base together at the end. So hold on tight. Now, the first orb that we want to speak about, or the first planet we want to speak about, is the sun. Not planet, but body in the sky. And so the sun represents our being and our everyday life. Now, this is usually the most effective video to watch, and that's why people say, what is your sun sign? It is determined by your time of birth, the date of birth, the day, and the month. And so this aspect tells us about who we are in the world, who essentially we think like, what our personalities are like. And it's kind of the amalgamation of everything, the manifest of everything that we have going on in our charts. Now, the sun is represented, of course, by the card, the sun. And so the sun talks about personality and personal characteristics and also who we are. So the big question is who we are. When you watch a video like this, it should tell you what's going on in your life, except if the sun is negatively aspected. What that means is if the sun has a lot of oppositions and a lot of other planets that take up the limelight away from it, in other houses or in other positions on the chart, then that house will be diminished, although the sun predominates more than any other body in your chart to retain its power and strength. So this is kind of the summary of the sun. You want to watch your sun video, which is determined just like you would on any other horoscope, and it will tell you the general gist of what's going on in your life. And this is really to do with who you are as a person and significant events that shape you as a person, and really the amalgamation of everything that's going on for you this month. The next aspect we want to speak about is the moon. Now, the moon, some astrologers say don't watch it, but I would disagree. The moon is all about your personal experiences in your life, your emotional interpretations of what's going on, how you interact with things. The moon is a reflection of the sun, so it is the vessel of the sun's energy. And so through Earth, it transmutates the sun's energy and applies a cosmic imprint on your life. So therefore, watching the sign that your moon is important, because it tells you about your personal experiences. By personal experiences, I mean this is going to tell you how you're going to feel, what you're going to perceive, how you're going to feel about the world, how you're going to feel about yourself, and your personal dialogue within yourself. Now, if the moon is negatively aspected, again, that's diminished, but sometimes when it has lots of planets around it, particularly planets that reinforce it and give it character and strength, then it becomes much more powerful and you become this kind of emotive person. Now, the moon is also connected to insight about your soul. So outside of looking at the exterior planets, outside of outside of Saturn, so the ones that are really talking about your destiny and karmic imprint. The moon allows you as a bridgeway between your conscious living life and those kinds of karmic and larger influences that are going on for you. So this is a bit of a mystical reading to watch, but it really talks about insight, intuition, and soul. So this is like a big emotions and insight type of reading. This is something you want to do for self-care. This is something that you want to watch for just interpreting and processing what's going on a personal level. Now the next video that we would watch is your rising sign. Now the rising sign is usually represented by the Fool. So rising is how you step up in the world. The rising sign is associated with the house ruler, so the house ruler of the first house. So whatever sign your house starts in determines that house position. Now this house determines your personality. Now this is also how you are perceived by other people. So this is the happenings kind of positions. So for some people this is a hard aspect to figure out, because this aspect changes every 15 minutes. So it's a fast moving aspect that changes every day, all day. And so that aspect will continually change throughout the day. So if you don't have your chart figured out, or the time of birth figured out to about the exact 15-minute mark, then you will not know what your rising sign is. The rising sign also becomes more important in certain charts as the person gets older or younger. So some astrologers say older, some say younger, but I think that it really depends on what's going on in your chart. For some people, you resolve the issues of youth and you become more like your sun, and there's a synergy throughout your life in which you achieve more of a sun sign type state. For other people, and in the youth you're more like your rising sign, your personality shows. For other people, you come out into your own, and your rising sign becomes more prominent as you get older, as you gain confidence, as you resolve the things in your chart. Again, this sign is completely contingent upon the aspects that it brings, and it'll give you this kind of what is going on, what is happening, how are people perceiving you, and what are the kind of situations that you're getting yourself involved in. Now I'm going to talk next about one other planet that's really important that often gets missed. It can be a contentious one to discuss, but I think it's important, so just hold on tight and I'll explain that in just a minute. So the last card that I want to talk about is Pluto. So Pluto is important in your chart for several reasons. Pluto is the outermost planet that we are considering in our Western astrology. Pluto is talking about our soul path and a connection to our soul imprint. This means that Pluto can tell us about what's going on with regard to the greater meaning with which we are living our lives. In particular, if you're constantly feeling certain experiences and the sun, the rising, and the moon reading are not triggering you for an answer, you may find that Pluto will be giving you some kind of deep knowing on a very deep and intuitive level, like the other signs will not. The thing about Pluto and tarot cards is I put the Death card down because it's associated with Pluto, but I would say that possibly all the cards represent the experiences of Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto, because those planets talk about the whole of the experience. Neptune talks about the whole of the experience of the collective. Uranus talks about the whole of the experience of the individual, and Pluto is the raw power and the energy flow of your life. So Pluto can be really interesting in order to get a good handle on what's going on for you in your life on a macro level, on like the greater sense of things. I get people who ask me a lot about, I've had the same experience for 3 or 4 years, I'm tired of it, and I don't know what to do about it. Watch Pluto, watch my 2015 Pluto reading, and that might give you some insight. So I hope that I was able to explain to you guys a little bit about the cards, and I hope that you guys understand which videos to watch, and that clears some things up for you. Thanks very much for watching my channel, and we'll talk again soon. Take care.